Away with the Atheists.
Oh, boy. This is a personal favorite of mine. So let's go through the lyrics.
Okay.
Like a fire, I have passed the scepter high. Pursue my flesh with fire. The forever will carry on.
So this song is about a man named Polycarp. And Polycarp was a bishop of Smyrna or
I think
Ephesus. So. Okay, but he also had dealings in Ephesus and things like that. Everybody was well known in that area back then. So,
and also a Grandmaster of the Order.
And also a Grandmaster of the Order, yes. So he was, so basically, come forth, stretch forth. Nope.
Light the pyre, I have passed the scepter on.
Light the pyre, I have passed the scepter on. As we get further into the song, we will see what happens to Polycarp. If I recall correctly, there was those with Polycarp in the arena when they were brought in by the Romans who said that they heard almost like thunder, kind of like in the Gospels where it's like, oh, that was the voice of an angel, that was the voice of God, and others said no, it was just thunder. And they heard God's voice. The Christians did. In the midst of the arena, and others heard something as well. They just thought it was thunder. So he's standing in an arena. Everyone's lusting for his end, which I think is the next line. He had the opportunity to escape, like a lot of people would have. He knew that the authorities were coming for him. Like, there was such a persecution going on back then, and he was the leader. He was the head guy, the most noticeable guy in the church. And so he knew they were coming for him. They had been told him, people were begging him to leave, like escape.
Yeah, like Bonhoeffer.
Yes, escape, get out of here, live to fight another day, that type of thing. And he refused. He absolutely refused. He said, nope, let them come and get me. I'm going to suffer like the master, like Jesus did. Death, rise again. I'm not scared of death because I know I know what comes on the other side of it. And there's that phoenix symbology once again. Seems to be a running thing down through so many things. They bound his hands. They put him on up against a stake, a pyre to burn him, and they bound his hands. Actually, I think maybe they tried to bind his hands at first, and then maybe he asked to have them undone, and he would. But basically, his hands were bound on the way at the very least. So. Yeah. When he came before the proconsul, which was basically like a provincial governor of the city of Smyrna, he was investigated by him, tried to get him to say, hey, you're old man, you don't have to actually believe what you're going to say, just say the words and you'll be set free. And he's like, absolutely not. He's 86 years I've served my God, and he was always treading in the light of Christ. And so that's what that means. So
I've heard that he is or one interpretation is that he is the first case in history written down of infant baptism. because of that line. 86 years of serving my God.
Yes.
That
That's
he, I
interesting.
mean, yeah.
Ah,
I heard it I think it was some Lutheran pastor going through the didache
yes.
and talking about these different things and
Yeah.
different interpretations, and then they talked about this 86 years of because the old church is always saw baptism as the threshold into the church.
Yes.
You could be a believer, but if you were not baptized, you were not a Christian.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
why we call it christening, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
let's go on.
Curse for your destruction. Hear the message proclaim. Do as thou wilt, do not delay. You will see the Grandmaster.
Oh, so there's a lot there. Boy, there's a lot right there. So the first line again, read that back to me.
Gaze upon your destruction, hear the message proclaimed.
Okay, so that's basically, and that's like what the Bible always talks about to anybody who persists in unbelief. You're going to see your own destruction. Hear the message proclaimed. The message is right there. We're speaking it right here in front of you. You have a choice. Do as thou wilt. Do not delay. He told him to whatever you're going to do, don't wait around. Do it. And then the do as thou wilt.
It's a Crowley.
But also St. Augustine.
Yeah, I know.
Thou wilt. Yes. So
do as thou wilt. Love God and do as thou wilt.
Exactly. But then Crowley came back and says, do as thou wilt. That's the whole of the law.
Shall be the whole of the law. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the true do as thou wilt is do as thou wilt and love God. And so
love God and do as thou wilt. So because if you love God, you want to do what is right.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is a turning on the head of the popular interpretation now, because the popular interpretation now is a ripoff of what it originally was.
So, yeah, there is a Skald song called "Do What Thou Wilt."
Yes, great
from
song.
the Stridslisten album. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's in that case, it's not Crowley, I guess.
No, that's what they talk about in their lyrics. They say, "Do as thou wilt." These are the words of Saint Augustine.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
So as you know, Mr. Karl, you have a guest vocal in this track. And I do. You are singing these parts. And also,
but you wrote them.
I did, and you added in some as well. So
maybe I did.
And so here, talking about in our previous song, you have the baptism of blood. In the Hunter, you have a baptism of blood as well. Now, Away with the Atheists, I love explaining this story so much. This is my favorite story in church history. One of my favorite stories of all time. They're standing in the arena. Back in the day, at that time, the Romans and the Greek culture considered Christians to be atheists. They called them atheists because they
denied the gods.
They denied the gods. They denied the Roman gods because they said there's only one God, and his name is Jesus Christ. So, or the triune God. So, but you know what I'm saying. So the Romans said the Christians were atheists. So when they tried to get him to deny the faith, and everybody was sitting there calling the Christians atheists, they were saying, away with the atheists, pointing at Polycarp and the other Christians in the arena. And they try to get Polycarp to deny the faith, and he says no. And he takes his finger and he points at the crowd, 80-something years old man, against an entire
86 at least.
86, yeah, against an entire arena of people that are getting ready to burn him at the stake and try and kill him. And he points at them and he turns it back on them. He says, "Away with the atheists." It's the most ballsy thing that you could possibly do. I mean, it just blows my mind. It stirs my spirit to think of that scene when they're telling him away with the atheists, he says no. And he points it back at them, away with the atheists.
Yeah.
And it's like, what you're sitting there. Exactly. What you're sitting there trying to proclaim as what you think is true. Let me tell you something that's a deeper truth. Much like
an older magic.
An older magic. You know exactly where I was going with that. Yes.
Yeah. Lewis.
Yes, Aslan the Lion. So that's what I love about as a little side tangent, as a Christian in metal. All this stuff, people like to act like they discovered it or it's theirs and they get to write the rules. No, sir. No, you do not. There is a deeper, more ancient meaning and truth to these things than you realize. And you are the one that is ripping things off.
Yeah, you are denying God.
You are denying. You are away with the atheists.
Yeah.
So,
and that gets us into the next line.
I think you had some part in helping with that formulation of that.
Maybe some part of it, yes.
Some part of it, yes.
I think it came in the singing booth.
Yes,
and
yes.
I had to write it down later.
Yeah, and it was just another way of reiterating what he'd already away with the heretics, because they would consider them heretics. They only to one my knee shall bend, not to Caesar, not to a foreign,
not to the proconsul of Smyrna.
No. Only my knee to one will I bend. And that would be who? To God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also takes form later on in history, like resistance to tyrants is obedience to God.
Yeah.
You
like
see
the founding of your nation.
Exactly. Yes. So many things.
Well, that finishes up the record.
It does. Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Apart from what do you call it? Bonus tracks and stuff.
Bonus tracks. Yeah. Yes. Yes, that is correct. That is the gist of the album.
Will you send us off with a word, Logan?
I will send us off with a word. Once again, thank you for all the love and support to this album. Thank you, Karl, all our brothers in the order, for all the help and support in all this. We could not have done it without you, without all of our brethren and our friends and family. And I guess to give one last word of edification, live your life like Polycarp in the arena. Don't let anybody tell you don't tell anybody or intimidate you into thinking, well, this is what you need to do to be safe, or you need to bow down to save yourself. Bow down to God and come what may.
Stay metal
and stay free. That's right.
Okay.
And love God. So
the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want for nothing. He makes me lie down in the green pasture.
And those who cause
up my head with oil.
Because
gives me kung fu in the face of my
including the KKK.
You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet
other
that can be
hate
purchased
groups.
at the price of chains and slavery.
Read your Bible. Believe in God.
Told the children of
Read
Israel
your
to live in slavery
Constitution.
under the Pharaoh.
Hold them dear to your heart.
But Christ have reduced
Place
the cross.
that bayonet of
So the
courage
patriot that conquered
on
bridge
top
have thrown
of
down
that
their guns
rifle
and refused to
of
fire the
knowledge.
shot heard round the world.
Steel your
The martyrs of
spine
history were not foolish.
and get ready
And our
to
honored
charge
dead
down that
gave their
hill.
lives to stop the
And let's
advance of
sweep
the
this
Nazis.
socialist
Didn't die in
hole
vain.
off of this
Where
blessed
then is the road
land
to
we
peace?
call the shining city on the hill, the United States
You
of
and I
America.
Have
God
the
bless
courage
you
to
all.
say to our enemies,